Hello, writers! It's Megan in the All Writers Welcome Facebook group. And my question for you today is, are you playing tug of war with your focus? When you're working on writing, do you have good focus? Or is your focus being pulled in multiple directions? Because sitting down to write doesn't mean just one thing. In fact, it means quite a few things. And each one requires a different kind of focus and has a different kind of goal or milestone. And your ability to tell when you've accomplished each of those depends on being really clear on knowing what you're doing. So I want to talk about 3 core different writing tasks and invite you to take stock and ask, which one of those am I currently in? Or which one will I be in when I sit down to do my next writing, so that you don't play tug of war. We want you to use all of your energy to get more words on the page instead of using your energy to fight against your own thinking. So one mode of writing you could be in is drafting. And this is probably what most of us think of when we say, I'm going to write, I'm going to sit down at this time and work on my story. We're probably thinking about drafting. When I'm in a drafting mode, my priority is to get words down on paper. I want to be typing lightning quick or scribbling away in my notebook. In a drafting mindset, I don't want to look back. I don't want to stop. I just want to keep moving. This is the time for me to turn my ideas into complete sentences. If I'm working from an outline, I'm just kind of glancing and then if I am working more freeform or I have my thoughts in my head, I'm going for it. I'm not stopping. I'm not looking back. When I am drafting, I don't care about spelling or grammar or typos or choosing just the right word. My priority is speed, is to keep going. So that's one mode I can be in my writing brain. But another mode I could be in is in my editing or revising mode. Very different kind of energy. When I'm editing and revising, my job is to go carefully through what I already have and look at what I want to do to make it different. And hopefully I'm working from a revising or an editing checklist so that I'm not going haphazardly. I'm using strategies and a to-do list, really, so that I'm being systematic. But when I am in revising and editing mode, I also want to be experimental. So this is something that I often do when I'm revising. I'll have the sentence one way, and then I'll copy and paste it, open up some space in my document, try it a different way. Try it yet a different way. Try it yet a different way. And I might do that for a sentence. I might do it for a whole paragraph. But I'm being experimental. I am being picky. I'm doing the exact opposite of what I was doing when I was drafting, which was to just get it down and move along. I am staying on that one scene, that one paragraph, or that one sentence until I like how it turned out. And I'm doing that by experimenting and keeping an open mind and trying different things to achieve whatever is the item on my checklist. So a very different energy. And I would say the keyword of revising and editing is hands-on experimentation. Really get in there, try it, move things around, and see what you like. Another kind of writing energy you could be in, besides drafting or revising, is research. And research mode, again, has its own different flavor. If you are researching, your job is to be thorough. When you're drafting, it's like, okay, I got the sentence, it might not be great, moving along. When you're revising, you're staying and you're moving things around until you get what you want. When you are researching, you're going even more into the thoroughness mode. You want to keep looking for things until you find them. And research is something that happens at a lot of different parts of the writing process. You probably are doing some initial research, like, what is it really like in Alaska? I have to look at temperatures and I have to look at the landscape and figure out what town I'm in. And then maybe once you get to revising, you're doing some more research because you are looking at a scene, you're going, is that really how you use a dog sled? I have to do some more research. The scene might not be realistic. So the research doesn't have to come at a certain time in your writing, but it does have to come with a certain approach, right? Because you're digging in, you're finding exactly the information you need. All right. So those are just 3 different modes of your writing brain that you can be in. And each one requires a completely different energy. Each one has different goals, and you'll know you're being successful in different ways. So let's look at what success means. When I'm successful, when I'm drafting, it means I have gotten a lot of words down on paper. That's it. It doesn't mean they're the best words I ever wrote. It certainly doesn't mean that they are free of errors. It just means I have written forward. So that would be a good goal for me, is to set a number of words I'm hoping to write, or a landmark. I want to get through such and such chapter. When I am revising and editing, a great goal would be to be able to check something off my revising and editing checklist. So that means to address it completely. And it might take a lot of time. So unlike with drafting, where I'm looking ahead, I'm saying I'm going to get through this many words, or I'm going to cover these many chapters, when I'm revising and editing, a good goal would be, I'm going to completely revise that one fight scene in chapter 7. Completely. And that might be all I do in my writing practice today, because I want to make sure I get that right. And researching then has its own goals. A great research goal would be, I'm going to find out these specific things. And again, I might have a list, and it might be a short list, just so I say, I'm going to thoroughly get all the information I need about all of those pieces. Carrie says, I'm researching the areas in my story that I missed during the revisions. Research and revision definitely go together, because your revisions will lead you to research. You will notice as you're going through and annotating your manuscript, hey, I'm really not sure if that's the case, and I need to go back and research it. But the key is, if you are in a revising mode, to stay in a revising mode, and you'll add it to your checklist. Here's what I need to do. And if you are in a research mode, you stay in a research mode. The different ways of being for writing are not because one is better than the other, or one is more important than the other. They're simply because it's a different energy. And the energy of fast drafting versus the energy of thorough researching or experimental revising pulls you in a different direction. So my challenge to you is, when you sit down to your next writing time, set an intention. Say it out loud. Write it down. Be crystal clear. My intention is drafting, and I'm going to get through this section. My intention is revising, and I'm going to completely get through this section. My intention is researching, and I'm going to answer the following questions. Set an absolute clear intention so that you stop playing tug of war, and so that you stop having to quickly transfer from one area to the next. Now, I want to briefly mention one thing. Ella and I talk a lot about how you can use active rest in your writing. So I just want to say why, in some cases, it's important not to switch activities. We talk about active rest so that if you have been working on drafting and you need a break, you can do your marketing materials for your book, or, to switch among different tasks. And you might ask, well, hey, can I use some active rest? Like, I was drafting and now I need to research. Active rest is intended for when you actually need a rest. So it's not intended for you to get distracted. Like, I'm working on drafting and then a research question came up and this is just my active rest. No, because it's not rest if it's something that's coming up as an attractive distraction. That's a squirrel moment. That's shiny object syndrome. Active rest is for when you are actually exhausted. Before the new exciting thing comes up, you realize, I just can't work anymore on my draft. I'm going to take a break. Okay, now I can switch and I can do some research. So that's why I want you to be really clear and conscious. And if you are going to switch to research, if you are going to switch to revising, if you are going to switch tasks, do it consciously, set a new intention, set a new goal, and then really stick to that. And for most of us, switching tasks after writing for less than 20 minutes is probably not effective. You need at least 20 minutes in most cases. to get some good headway. All right. If you have strategies that you use for getting into a certain part of your writing brain or getting a certain kind of focus, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear about them. Hope everybody is having a great day. Happy writing. I will catch you later.